Uh, Good morning, everyone. I'm Sanpreet Singh Ajmani. I am your moderator for today's session, and I officially welcome Dr. Rajesh Bhaguna, Vice Chancellor, Uttaranchal University, and I would also like to welcome Miss Anjali Chauhan. She is Executive Member of Supreme Court Bar Association and Vice President of Youth Bar Association of India. Before I begin the session, the participants who have joined yesterday may came to know about the summer school classes by yesterday's video, which has been uploaded. And I begin today's session by briefly introducing Dr. Rajesh Bhaguna. Dr. Rajesh Bhaguna is Vice Chancellor of Uttaranchal University. Sir has experience of more than 40 years, which includes 15 years service in prestigious Indian Air Force, and he is been in teaching after being retired from after being resigning from the said services. And sir has been the principal in Law College Dehradun, and recently sir has assumed the charge of Vice Chancellor of Uttaranchal University. I welcome you, sir, to accept this program. Sir is also member in various law institutions in the country and 15 universities, and sir is also member of State Public Service Commission. In today's session, sir would sir would educate us about the topic, and without wasting any further time, I would request sir to begin with his lecture.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sanpreet. Thank you so much. And at the outset, I will thank Youth Bar Association, its president, vice president sitting before me, student wing, and everyone for remembering me and for calling me for this prestigious session in which you are going to train students and youth and advocates for alternative dispute resolution. And today's topic, which was given to me, is alternative dispute resolution and introduction. So let just let me discuss first what methodology, what I'm going to cover in this topic, right? So today we will be covering in this class. First, I will tell you the methodology which I'm going to adopt to explain you ADR. Then I will talk little about adjudication. Then straightaway I will come on the ADR, what the ADR is. Then we'll be discussing some ADR techniques, and then we will discuss why ADR, rationality behind ADR, and then we'll discuss where is ADR. Then we'll discuss legal recognition to ADR techniques, particularly in India. I will come with some advantages and also some limitations of ADR. Then we will come to the concluding remarks. What I mean to say, just I want to see you students a broad mirror about the alternative dispute resolution system. Of course, we will be going, Youth Bar Association will be going in detail, topic by topic. But here, I will show you a broad mirror. And first of all, let us discuss the methodology which I am going to adopt in this. I will take to clear my methodology about ADR. Let us take the example of if I have to discuss law. So the question is law, and I am going to discuss law. Why I have taken this to tell you my methodology? This is one topic which everyone of us is aware. So with this, you will understand what I am going to do further. So the first thing, which we are going to discuss about anything which comes into our mind. So is to the ADR, like what is this? So I am not going on many definitions, just in nutshell, in generic sense, there are certain principles laid down or authorized by the political superior within its jurisdiction. And you can say deviation of it, deviation of this principle in the criminal matter, redressable in civil matter, offenses and redressable. So this is just we have in your mind key what the subject is. Same I am going to apply with the topic of ADR also. Then comes most important question. And the most important question is why law? Any topic which we discuss, after coming into your mind, what is it? The second question comes into our mind, why law? So not going in many things. If I just quote jurisprudentially, just quote Dean Raskopon. So he has given four objectives of law. The first objective, it is to maintain law and order. And he said that it is to be done at any cost. Second objective is to maintain status quo. When the status quo is required, you know it better. The third objective is to have maximum freedom of maximum number of people. And fourthly is the satisfaction of the need of the people. As you know, needs are unlimited, so they are one after another. They are the rationale behind having law. But if you say in nutshell, for the man of common parlance, law, it is required to regulate the conduct of the people in the society. In one line, this is the requirement, rationality behind law, and all other things will be covered up within that. I can say you, if we are 100% sitting and listening this lecture, then 100 of the purposes of law will come. But in nutshell, it is required to regulate the conduct of the people in the society. Then the third thing, which is part of my methodology, where is ADR? So here I am explaining you, where is law? You have come to know what is law. You have understood why law. Now the question is, where is law? So there are so many sources of law. But being a lawyer, being a law student, if you arrange those sources in a chronological order, then you will find the first is the legislation. This is the first source of law. Where are you're going to see the law? It's a legislation. And I can take it in this way also, giving you a very simple example. If a matter comes to a judge and he has to decide on a particular problem, I understand first of all he should look into the legislation, law. If he does not find solution under legislation, then he switch on to the other source. That is the precedent. Meaning thereby, on the similar problem, what decision has been taken by apex court, and if it is a common law country, where doctrine of precedent is followed, it becomes the second source. But If at this stage also he does not find any solution to that problem, he is not at a liberty to say that, sorry, gentlemen, we do not have law on this point. I will request to the parliament to make law and I will call you. But what he is going to do? He is going to see the third source of law. And that is the custom. If there is a established custom, valid custom meaning thereby which is followed with the essential of custom, then he will take decision on the basis of that, and decision so taken will become precedent for the forthcoming cases. But when we are searching where is law after these three sources, if we do not find, again relating the example with that of the judge, now he does not find solution in all the three sources. These are primarily known as basic source, primary source, binding source. Okay, then he will see the other sources. And there is a long list of other sources, like professional opinion. See, you might have seen series of professional opinions are available in the point. He can see that also. He can also see the juristic writings. Today, in UGC Care, Scopus, SCI, there are series of juristic writings available. Scholars are writing. He can see that also. He can also see, take the reference of foreign judgment. My dear student, you know, when in 1976, Vijay Emmanuel versus State of Kerala was decided, popularly known as the national anthem case. Then the judges has taken reference from the foreign judgment also. That was from the Supreme Court of United States of America. Now, though, there are series of examples you can put forward. But if he does not find anywhere any resolution, then the last resort is justice, equity, and good conscience, which you say Antaratma ki Awaaz. This principle has been followed by the Britishers when they came in India. They were not conversant with the Hindu law as well as Muslim law. They used to listen the parties and dictate decision according to the principle of justice, equity, and good conscience. So why I have given you this example? There are two purposes behind it. Firstly, my dear students, I want to tell you what methodology I am going to follow to explain you ADR. And secondly, this is my opinion. My own student is sitting before me. So I can tell you that this is the way one should explain a particular topic, and the whole thing will be revolving around what, why, and where. So now, whenever any wrong is committed, or whenever as any claim is required to be taken, crime is committed, then what comes into your mind first? It comes to your mind what is properly so-called process for dispute resolution. When I say properly so-called, just understand, properly so-called is the term. We use it, what comes first time in our mind when you think about a particular thing. I'll give you a very simple example. You just think or call mother. I'm sure the picture of your mother will be coming here. Nobody else. This is called the properly so-called. So properly so-called method, it will come into your mind, it will come police, court, advocates, like that, the whole process will come, it will be revolving around your mind that whenever the crime is committed or any civil wrong is committed. So this is the traditional system. This is the traditional system, and traditional system we call it adversarial system. And my dear student, this adversarial system which we call normally in common law country, including India. India is a part of common law country. When I say common law country means all the countries which either are or have been the colonies of Great Britain, they are called common law country. So adversarial system is followed there. In this system, what is to be done? That an entire court procedure is followed. However, in Roman law country, inquisitorial system is followed. What they do in that? They pay more attention to pre-trial inquiries so as that the maximum benefit is to be given before the trial. But the whole thing is, this is our traditional system, which you call the system properly so-called for any adjudication. But other than this, there is one more system, may not be at a time coming into your mind, and that system is called alternative dispute resolution system, which you call ADR. Now, what is ADR? See, I am trying to give you very short definition of ADR. Rather, I will try to explain you. It is alternative dispute resolution system, which is popularly known as ADR. It's a process for settlement of dispute. Which dispute? Which are capable of being settled under the law between the parties without intervention of court trial. Right? In common parlance, for a normal man, it is just called decision outside the court. Right? And the object is to obtain speedy, inexpensive settlement of dispute without procedural delay, formalities involved in the court litigation. Right? It is an alternative to dispute resolution process traditionally, which I have just explained to you. And all set of practices, all set of techniques of non-judicial means to resolve dispute outside the court are all covered under the definition of alternative dispute resolution system. So, my dear friends, just I will give you brief idea of the ADR techniques which are followed in our country and in other country also. See, ADR is also distributed into two. First is the adjudicatory technique. Second is the non-adjudicatory techniques. When I say adjudicatory, it is arbitration. It is also same in litigation, you can say. So it is brought under the adjudicatory techniques. And there is lot of debate going on this topic. Ki nowadays arbitration is stepping into the shoes of litigation. So when we say arbitration in the category of adjudicatory ADR technique, so it is if you say jurisdiction wise, so you can divide it into three categories. It's a domestic arbitration. You know, when the parties are Indian procedural substantive laws are adopted. Then it is international arbitration. It may take place in India as well as in abroad also. But one of the element is foreign element involved over there. Then the international commercial arbitration. It is almost the international arbitration, but in this, it contains the element which are of foreign origin based on the relation between the parties. So this is just idea about its arbitration, but three types. Now the procedure wise also arbitration is divided. Like institutional arbitration. Nowadays, so many lectures have taken place to promote institutional arbitration. So what is institutional arbitration? When the arbitration is taken by the institution. We have ICADR, we have ICA, other institutions going to establish in private sector also. And ad hoc arbitration. This is the most common form of arbitration in India. They are not working here, parties are not working on the terms of any institution, rather they according to their own agreement and own settlement, they are doing it. That is ad hoc arbitration. And one category, fast track arbitration. In fast track arbitration, normally, it is also the same, but some procedures which are causing delay in the arbitration has been replaced in that. So this is one idea about the adjudicatory ADR technique. Now non-adjudicatory. For non-adjudicatory, you know only popular. What is popular? Popular is mediation. Then the dispute is settled with the help of third party who is known as mediator. Although I have also written it first, but first I will write negotiation. Negotiation comes first. In negotiation, you don't need any third party. If you have understood the need of ADR, advantage of ADR, then sometime you may proceed for negotiation first. It is between the disputing party only. And if it fails, then we comes on mediation or conciliation. There is no much difference between mediation and conciliation also. Then one category is given. Mediation arbitration, popularly in foreign countries we call MEDAR. So what is this mediation arbitration? This is the combination of both. If mediation fails, we automatically switch on to the arbitration. Right? Then mini trial. If you see the mini trial, you will just think that it is some court trial or something, but it is not court trial. In this pattern, in this system, the senior executive of the companies or that particularly business sectors, they sit together and they put forward, then they come to some decisions in the presence of neutral third party. Neutral listener agreement. Again, almost the same patterns. Then I have written MEDA LOA, MED mediation, A for arbitration, LOA, last offer arbitration. This is combination of all. mediation hoga, arbitration hoga. At the last, we are agreed to that only. This is our last offer. So this is also combination. Then one terms, particularly in some of the country of America, it is there, rent a judge. It is also with the permission of the court. Normally the retired judges are hired for that particular matter by the big company or business setups. They also decide in that. One is the Michigan mediation. Michigan is written because it was coined first time in the court of Michigan in the United States of America. This is court attached mediation, right? This is court attached mediation. Same mediation take place, but with the court, and it is with the formality of the court. Final offer arbitration, I have already explained. Then fact finding. When I say fact finding, normally this technique is followed when the dispute is like between the employer and so many employees. Some major wrong has taken place, some gas leakage has taken place, so many people are to be blamed, like that. So neutral third party fact finding is to be detailed. And on the basis of that, again same process of ADR, anyone can be taken. Now what I want to say, one should be very clear, since it is informal technique. So this is not the exhaustive list. Only thing we have in our mind that by anyhow we want to settle down, but make the difference whether it is mediation, negotiation, conciliation, mediation of and all. So I have written particularly in the last of this slide, which is very important in this context. List is not exhaustive. With the rapid changes taking place in the thinking and mindset of the people, philosophy of the people, globally, new techniques to resolve the dispute outside the court are being evolved. Each of these processes embodies to various extent elements that enable the disputant to more efficiently and more amicably resolve to the dispute. So this is what are the different techniques of the ADR. Now, see, now the question is my third question. But why? Second question. Why ADR? See, when normally the books and others answer to this question, the advantages of the ADR over litigations are counted. But I don't go directly to that. I will bring you opinion of some eminent speakers, and you yourself will make out why ADR, right? So, firstly, very popular Mahatma Gandhi ji, Rashtrapita. This quotation you will find written everywhere. Father of nation Mahatma Gandhi ji. As a lawyer, he said, realized that the true function of the lawyer was to unite the party. You know, he has practiced for around 20 years. And during 20 years, much of the time he say occupied in bringing about private compromises of hundreds of cases. And importantly he said, I lost nothing thereby, not even money, and certainly not my soul. So this is the quotation from our Rashtrapita. Another thing he has specifically stated about the arbitration. Differences we shall always have. We cannot say that we will not have differences, but we must settle them all, even whether they are religious differences or other, by the arbitration. So if I start counting the advantage of arbitration, I think this advice of our forefather is more important than the things which I will make you to count. Now, see, my dear student, just you'll have to see this opinion of George Washington. He is the first president of United States of America. Just on my advice, go through his will and testament. It is available publicly on the website of United States of America. See, years before, on 9th July 1799, that person visualized about the idea what we talk about today. When he, or one more thing, he has written his will in his own handwriting. So this is available with you, but this I will tell you. He says, firstly, I feel that there will not be any disopinion regarding interpretation or see what he has used. If some excess has been stated or has not been stated something here, or there is a question of interpretation, then two persons, he advises, see he writes, for their those who are known for their probity and understanding. This is important, and this is why this is important. This is important. I will relate it. I will relate it the thing which was there present in our own country even during the Vedic period. Who used to decide the cases? They were the elder men. I will come later on that also. But they were the people who were known for their probity and understanding. उनको उनकी समझ के लिए जाना जाता था. They will be, and if required, they will appoint one more third person, and the decision given by them will be clearly written as if Supreme Court of United States of India. So this is my second version, why idea. Now the third. Abraham Lincoln, very famous President of United States of America. He has also advised discharge litigation. Pursue your neighbors to compromise wherever you can. Point out that how nominal winner is often the real loser in fees, expenses, wastage of time, etc., etc. As a peacemaker, this is advice to lawyers. As a peacemaker, the lawyer has a opportunity of being a good man. There will be business enough. There will be business enough. So the people of that understanding, when they say and they quote this thing, thirdly, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Sahab, he has also clear cut. You will find this quotation only. Only thing he say, we need some trained mediators who can see the problem objectively without bias and facilitate affected parties to come to the agreed solution. In my opinion, this system of dispute resolution definitely a cost-effective system for the need. So this is what the Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam said. Now most important thing I'll tell you. On 4th December 1993, there was a meeting taken place in which Prime Minister of India, Law Minister of India, Chief Justice of India, Chief Justices of all the High Courts, Chief Minister and Law Minister of all the states, and that meeting was the result of the recommendation of Justice Malimat Committee. Then the gist of that meeting, they say about that the courts were not in a position to bear the entire burden of the justice system, and that a number of respondents themselves to resolution by alternative modes such as arbitration, mediation, negotiation. They emphasize the desirability of dispute taking advantage of alternative dispute resolution, which provide flexible, save valuable time, money, etc., etc. So I will tell you why I am going to quote you different sect of people. I will tell you, right? Now, there are series of judgments of the apex court. I have taken only one, and it's a very old judgment, I know, but 81 Guru Nanak Foundation, Messrs. Ratan Singh and Sons. Why I have taken this old judgment? After that we have series of that, but this is the base here. This is interminable, time consuming, complex, expensive procedures impelled jurists to search for an alternative forum which is more formal, more effective, speedy for resolution of dispute. So now you have seen here that why ADR? Why ADR from the eminent speaker of the world, executive, judiciary, and the opinion of as a whole in their own world. I'm very small to comment upon that, but they're on recorded. Now, question comes, where is ADR? Now, just we will have a look on historical background of ADR. Remember Panch, Panchayat, and Panch Parameshwar. These are not new words to us. Every one of us, whether in village or in town, we know all this. So this is the concept which was very much present in this country even during the Vedic period, and it was continued. What was the system? What were the courts? Whether they were the courts like the courts we have today? No. They all were ADR system. And the name were Kul, Sreni, Pug, Pradivika. Then comes to king. This was the hierarchy. This was the hierarchy we used to follow in our olden golden period. So any dispute, any disopinion which arose, that used to be settled down in these ways. So my dear students, even today, when you see in villages, if any dispute, any disopinion comes, so it comes to the mind of a villager to go to the Pradhanji, Just compare when I started my speech. I started when any civil wrong take place or any crime take place, what comes to your mind? The popular method, popularly so-called method, that is court, police and all. But here, because the system is in blood, if very small dispute take place even in the house, the grandmother or anybody will say, okay, call Pradhanji, call somebody who is known for his probity and understanding. Even if he is not Gram Pradhan, they will decide dispute and people obey that. People obey that. So, Kul, Sreni, Puk. So, first method during that period, it used to go to the Kul. You can understand with name also. These are the Sanskrit names. So, if it could not be settled down in Kul, then it will go to Sreni, right? And if it could not be settled down in Sreni, then the Pug. If not in Pug, then Pradvika will take care of that entire things. And finally, if it could not be settled down anywhere, it will go to the king. And king used to be considered the representative of God. So his decision is ultimate. So this was the system in this country. Now, even today, when you see so many legislation on our country, like Arbitration and Conciliation Act, you all know, 96. You know, Legal Services Authority Act. But before I go to that, to tell you the legal recognition, when these Britishers came in this country, they infused their own system. And our old system, which was based on ADR, I should not say it has gone behind the eclipse, rather it it came on margin, right? So, but even the Britishers could not eliminate the entire system when this Bengal Regulation Act 1772 was passed. 1780, 1781, 1787, 1793. All the regulations had the provisions, but that was in the name of arbitration. And you know, Civil Procedure Code in 1859, it has section 312 to 327, which was devoted completely to the arbitration. Then came the Arbitration Act 1899. And at the same time, the Schedule 2 to the CPC 1908. And there was a time when we had both the provisions in practice. Arbitration Act 1899 also, and the Schedule 2 to CPC in 1908 also. Then came the dedicated act, the Arbitration Act 1940. After that, before 96, I have already given you the meeting of chief ministers, prime minister, all the chief justices of high courts and Supreme Court, that took place on 4th December 1993. And result of that was Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996, Section 89 in the CPC, that amendment, I think in 2005 it took place. They all are the development of that. Why I have given you their idea? See the journey which our forefathers started long back at the beginning of civilization during the Vedic period. That journey is not stopped in between. Hindrance, there was some hindrance, but it is still continue, and you have today legislation before you. So this is, but now with this we have given certain legal recognition also. You have before you yourself can see. The Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996, Legal Services Authority Act 1987, Civil Procedure Code with Section 89, then Hindu Marriage Act, 13B subclause 1 and 2, Mutual Consent Section 21, 23, etc. You know. Then Indian Contract Act Section 28, Industrial Disputes Act Section 4, 5, then which talks about conciliation. Then your Police Act also Section 5, powers of IG as a magistrate given there. CRPC, the complete chapter of 21 chapter A about the plea bargaining. Although plea bargaining is not that much adopted here, but this is another topic we will discuss sometime later. But it is there also. Then your Family Act, Family Court Act, you know, Section 4, ABC 5, 6, 9, etc., etc. Consumer Protection Act, all the tribunals. So this is what is in one glance. Where is ADR? Now some advantages I would like to count, although they have covered some or the other places, first of all. But these advantages, these have to understand. Successful ADR proceeding results in win-win situation. This I will explain to you in single slide also, upon which I want to give you more insight. So how we get win-win situation. Then in ADR, creative option in resolution of dispute. Why? Because the party themselves are involved in the resolution process and they have their control there. Then their participation. Of course, their confidentiality. And lastly, I say resolution. You make it resolution of dispute. Because resolution of dispute sometimes may not be there in litigation. Litigation is not end of the dispute. In normally you might have seen. Some of you are practicing lawyer, you might have seen. If a party wins in one dispute, the other party never accept that they have lost it. And within a short period, there will be another dispute between the same parties. And that ego will remain, that will be continued. And the best advantage of it is, this is the resolution of dispute, end of the dispute. So these are the very few, I don't want to much, but there are certain limitations also. We cannot just forget the limitations. Alternative dispute resolution system. See, in the cases where you need to create some precedent, of course, that is one of the limitations. Where you want to correcting of injustice, discrimination, violence on human rights, or many more such type of things, there may be some limitations. They may not work well. This is very important. Extreme power imbalance between the parties. Suppose one party is a big businessman, another party is a small employer. So practically when you apply this method, this will create a problem, and this may be, until and unless the mediator is very perfect and trained, it is difficult to tackle that. Then educational, punitive and deterrent effect of the society. Sometimes you know what happen if you don't get any punishment, if you don't get anything, you feel, yeah, it is kuch hua nahi hai, next time we will try, it will be. So that deterrent aspect of the punishment may be lacking. Then multi-party disputes, that can also be one of the limitation. And when the judicial reforms is required. See why I will tell you judicial reform sometime. See, the judges under their creative roles, sometimes they are making law. They are bound to make law. How? Innocently, knowingly, unknowingly, they are making law. At least on 3 occasions. The first occasion, that is the prime function of a judge, that is interpretation. Then when they give interpretation to a written text of law, in the light of the contemporary ethos, that becomes a law for the forthcoming cases. Second occasion, to fill up the lacuna in written text of law. How the lacuna comes? Whatever intelligent you may be, there is a limit of your foresight. So law made today, there will be lacuna after passage of time. That is filled by the judiciary. And thirdly, when the matter comes to them first time, they give the judgment, as I have stated in my first slide also. It becomes precedent, and so many legal reforms, of course, that is one of the limitation for that. Then unequal bargaining, I have told, creative dispute resolution, cooperation, vagara, and non-litigated dispute resolution may not discourage future claims. That is important. That is important. Okay, you don't understand the value of the law, value of the system, values everything, if it is left unlitigated. Then, after the limitation, the most important thing which I am going to discuss with you, this I am going to give you one vision. Just try to understand it. This slide has got 2 parts, and in first part, sheep run for shelter to bush to save itself from rain and hail, and found itself deprived of its fleece when it come out. This is based on the story of grandmother, which is normally told to us. ये जो भेड़ आपको दिखाई दे रही है, ये बारिश और ओलों से बचने के लिए झाड़ी में घुसी थी, और जब बाहर आई तो अपने बाल वहीं छोड़ के आ गई, क्योंकि वो झाड़ियों ने निकाल दी. Then the condition of litigants, see in the second part, litigants run to the court for their claims, and when they come out after so many years, I need not to explain, you can just see it. So this is what I wanted to explain to my student. This is the ground reality, and you will have to agree to that. Somehow you'll have to agree to that, and that is why we are thinking, that is why Youth Bar Association and other, they are organizing these classes. Now, see here. What is litigation? Finally, litigation is win-lose strategy. ये मूज का सवाल है. Ego. Okay, so you might have experienced this. sometime in family, sometime in village, sometime in anywhere with your known and all. There are people, they say, okay, I'll see you in court. With very small things also. And unfortunately, if they lose, they say, I'll sue you in the apex court. And the litigation never ends. It is the win-lose strategy. One person lose, one person wins. The person who lose, he never accepts that he has lost. He thinks, his mindset is, okay, I have lost in this court, I have another court. If all the courts are exhausted, then another dispute will be created. But the ADR I explain in this way. It is win-win strategy. In this slide, you can see it, how I explain the ADR, how I explain win-win strategy. These two persons, probably you can see that like a wife husband, with dispute, they enters their mouth into different direction. They shake hand, resolve, and when they come out, you can see their face. So this is the bottom line thing. Win-lose strategy. Win-win strategy. Now it's up to you. This is my concluding remarks, which I have given on the basis of my research. When I did my research long back in Kurukshetra University, under the guidance of my professor, Professor R.K. Sabbarwal sahab, whom I would like to salute in absentia, because he has guided me on ADR, and we did this research. That was the time when very few people were doing research on ADR. So my conclusion was that, and this is today on the basis of that. We are standing at a juncture where on one hand we have traditional system, litigation which is not able to comply with the need of the day and needs some alternative dispute resolution. But by being interminable, time-consuming, complex, expensive, whatever you can. And on the other hand, we have ADR, about which I have already spoken. But at present, our country has got two challenges. First challenge is to create awareness about this second method amongst the people. Not only law students, not only lawyers, but everyone. Because dispute may arise at the house of, you can understand. And at the same time, we need to change the mindset of people so as to implement all these things. Which all things? We have legislation, we have judicial opinion, we have advices of our forefather, but who will implement this? It needs our mindset to implement it in letter and spirit. And I will tell you, take it in this way. When you go to the doctor, when you fell sick, you have option: allopathic, homeopathic, Ayurvedic, Ayush. Nowadays, so it is increasing a lot. But it does not mean that allopathy is replacing Ayurvedic or Ayurveda is replacing homeopathy. They are the available option. Similarly, take it as an option and see the limitations. And my dear lawyers, just make case strategy before we take your case. Where your case fit, every case will not fit sometime in ADR. And every case will not be recommended only and only for the litigation. So that is the big question. Here comes the role of an advocate. That's what has been stated by Mahatma Gandhi also in first slide. So take it in this positive sense, and I have given you the whole things. Now it is up to you. And I will rest my speech with this. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
It was indeed a wonderful session. And before we start our interactive session, I must say that it was very informative and educative. And you have also given certain directions to the lawyers while dealing with their clients. Perhaps that advises may, I must say, may bring the lawyers in some certain loss. But still, at the end, if the matter is resolved amicably, the degree of satisfaction would be much more than what we can earn. So I must tell the speakers that sir is a trained mediator from International Center for Alternative Dispute Resolution. Sir has also successfully, 3 students have successfully completed their PhD program with sir, and 8 students are pursuing under him. Now I would take all of you for an interactive session. I would request Rahul to please ask Ms. Prithvi to put his question to the worthy speakers.
Ms. Prithvi, you can unmute yourself. You have the access and please proceed with the question.
Good afternoon, Honorable Professor, sir.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Sir, my question is, you told in some villages, even now they go to the village headman for dispute resolution. But isn't it an issue because that headman is not trained in law, nor he is a trained mediator? Sometimes these khap panchayats even take law into their own hands. Do you think it's a proper way for dispute resolution and these villagers should rather go to a trained mediator or an arbitrator?
This is very good question. Thank you, brother. You have asked me, but before I answer to the where this go, trained mediator or villager, let me tell you one thing. Why he goes to eldermen of the village? The theory behind it is, elderman of the village is the person who is normally known for his probity and understanding. And I will connect it. I understand if you are a student of law or lawyer, I connect it with the position of president in our constitution. He is the head of the institution and head of the family should be the man of wisdom, caliber, etc. and character. So his advice will always be followed. So when they go to the elderman, he is in a position because he is not implementing his decision through any police. He is in a position to hold the standing in the village that people feel that he will give the right direction, right order, right guidance, and people are following. Because in ADR, the decisions are not binding. It depends upon the person who has given direction and order, how much wisdom, character, and standing he has so as to make the decision follow. But at the same time, I am 100% agree with your opinion that if the same matter goes to a trained mediator, like ICADR is holding 40 hours training to train the mediator, ICEDR in England is also holding that that training, and in which they say step by step how to do mediation. And the most important part in this training is, which is lacking in village, and which is your doubt also, that when the decision is when the matter is mature, and that writing process, that is not taken properly, because if they do not have the knowledge how to pen down the entire agreement taken between them, that will become meaningless with passage of time, and the judgment given by him or advice given by him follows for a certain period, and later on it goes in well and nobody follows it. So it is advisable that we should take help of a trained mediator, and when the decision taken place, it should be written down and on the proper platform. Like in every law college, we do have legal aid centers. They can take help from that. Women Commission is there, and there are so many agencies. They are. Yes.
Yes. Now I request Mr. Arijit Kundu to please ask his question.
Mr. Arijit, you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
Mr. Arijit, I think is not available. Ms. Shashi Bala, though your question has been addressed by the sir while showing the PPT, but still if you want to ask any further thing, you may clarify your doubts.
I think we can take Arijit Kundu's question and
Okay.
sir can answer it. So his question is that whether order passed by a municipality after in a hearing is binding. I think this has already been answered.
This I have already answered.
Yes.
But still it should be very clear in general, if any settlement take place between the party at any stage, so that can become part of the proceeding which is pending there. Even in section 89 also, they go back and settle it outside and it comes back. Lok Adalat is also, if it is not settled in Lok Adalat, then also it come back. Like
the other question is from Advocate Poonam. Rahul, please unmute her.
So she has, ma'am, you have the access. You can please proceed with the question.
A question is very simple. She is asking whether the litigation under section 307, which are under High Court or Session, can be transferred for arbitration matters.
IPC, no. See,
Yes.
she is advocate. She must, I think, understand between the compoundable and non-compoundable. And if I start answering this question, so Poonam, who is?
Yes, actually, the matter was earlier in the. It was not 307 added, and after that, it has been added 307. So he has got, the person has got a bail from the police bail, but after during the proceeding, they are forced to put 307. So the matter went to High Court, and the person is not getting a bail. After Session, it is rejected. Then High Court, it is rejected. But both the parties are agreed for resolution. But the judge is not giving the bail because he is thinking that they both have done the compromise.
I will tell you one bottom line thing. See, in our country, even we have plea bargaining, but you see, we have reservation. Advocate Poonam, we have reservation. These reservations are not there in United States of America. What are our reservations? If the matter is related to women, if matter is related to some social problems, if the matter is related in respect of the children, so we cannot go further any settlement in that. Okay, so there are certain binding and arbitration that civil matters go, and as you said, so that decision or that everything you'll have to take case.
I may add to it. Advocate Poonam, you have a remedy. You may seek compounding of this offense, and with the permission of the court, though it is not a compoundable offense, but taking into account the overall circumstances, if 307 is not made out on the face of it, the court has ample power in view of section 320 CRPC to compound the offense, read with section 482 CRPC.
Okay, thank you.
I think
Next
that's all with the question.
Yeah.
We have a question from Deepika Sharma as well.
Okay.
Deepika Sharma, is she available? Okay, the question is very simple. She is asking, what is the binding force behind mediation?
Oh, wonderful. This is wonderful question. I was expecting this question, Deepika, if you are listening. See, there is social force behind that. Okay, and that is sometimes more important than the force of the state. This is the jurisprudential question. See, you know, we are doing so many things under it, and so many laws are followed innocently under this force. See, I'll give you very simple example. How important is the social force? See, in case death ceremony was being after Tehri was being done at one place, he was very poor person. So somebody asked him, why are you going to feed these many of people? You do not have single day meal for yourself. He say, biradri mein kya ho? So this is one of the force. You know, this smoking at public places, this is law. But it is not required in village, because he understands the person that somebody from my village will say. So this is one type of very strong and silent force which works behind that, and the regards for the mediators is also there.
Last question, sir, from Pavanjot Kaur. She has asked, which process will be best to overcome the barriers to ADR?
Which process will be best to overcome
the areas of the barriers to ADR?
Barriers to ADR. Okay, fine. I have given in the last slide also. I have explained, when I explain all the limitation and advantages. Then see, this is, you do not think. Sometimes we consider that ADR. This is because of nomenclature ADR. Otherwise, I will tell you, in United States of America, 97% cases are settled outside the court. So litigation become ADR there. Getting my point? So main 97% cases are settled outside the court. So who is ADR? Litigation. So here also, gradually and slowly, when major portion will be taken over by the ADR, and at the same time, we'll have to take up first those matters where we do not need the cases which I have mentioned under litigation. Gradually and slowly, it can be taken out, not at a time.
So it was a wonderful session. Now I request my friend Miss Anjali Chauhan, whom I introduced at the beginning, to conclude the session and deliver vote of thanks. Over to you, Anjali.
Thank you so much, Sanpreet. It is now my pleasure to propose a vote of thanks on behalf of Vice President of Youth Bar Association. I express my sincere gratitude to our guest speaker, Professor Dr. Rajesh Bahuguna, for sharing his profound knowledge in this field of arbitration and mediation. I am sure that we all have benefited with this discussion. In the end, I would like to thanks to all participants of this discussion and participating in the event, and it is making a successful event. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sanpreet. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
कदमों में है आसमां, है मुट्ठी में ये सारा जहां।
सपनों को हकीकत बनाना सीखा है हमने यहाँ।
पीछे मुड़ के देखा नहीं, बस हम आगे बढ़ते ही चले।
राहों की सभी मुश्किलों पर जीत करते ही चले। यहीं पर है तराशा अपनी किस्मत को हर पल। हम भी कदम से है लिखते अपना आने वाला
रहना
चलने university.